I'm going to church next Sunday. She wants to go with me.
And I'm sure you even prayed with her. You committed that journey to Hungary into the hands of God. Now we wake up and we hear that Ebony is gone. People will be asking, why does God work in such ways?
Well, I think that we can never understand God fully until we get to heaven. The young die, the old die. Some die as babies, some die as toddlers, some die as old people, some die as Methuselahs. The most important thing is that the Bible says we should work out our salvation with fear and tremble. It's always important to understand the purpose of our calling. And these were some of the things I spoke to Ebony about. I must confess, though, she was very receptive. At one stage, there were tears at her eyes. And we hugged, we spoke. She asked if she could take pictures with me. I said yes. I realized that 30 seconds after the pictures came, she sent them on Instagram. And so I want to thank God for one thing for her life. But let me also be quick to say this, that it's not just Ebony who died in the accident. Other people's children and relatives died. And sometimes it's very easy for us to be so insensitive that we only concentrate on Ebony, who is dead, and we forget about the other valuable members of people's family who also lost their life in the course of the accident. About 5 people, I'm told, are already dead. And the driver himself is in a very critical condition. And my heart goes out to them. I am yet to locate the family of Ebony to share my personal condolence with them and to tell them I'm standing with them. I'll do everything possible. I've asked my office and my ministry to make sure when it's time for a funeral, we fully stand with them.
Okay. I understand during that encounter with her, she told you she wanted to give her life to Christ. What would you say would be the one thing that you will remember her for, even based on that quick encounter you had with her?
She said, Daddy, thank you. Daddy Lawrence, thank you. Daddy, can I call you Daddy or call you Lawrence or call you Pastor Lawrence or call you, I said, call me anything. I say, I prefer Daddy. He said, thank you for introducing me to your God that has made some of us gotten glued to you. I still remember that vividly. Her excitement was that she's watched me all over, followed my ministry, and she was telling me about even some of the programs I held as far back when she was little, about 5 years ago. She said she remember when I put on an army camouflage to come and preach, and she still remember it like yesterday. So you can realize that inside her there was that search for God. And I must say, I thank God for the privilege to have ministered to her 72 hours or so before she was called into glory.
Now her demise has exposed once again a very worrying trend about supposed man of God and self-styled prophets. I mean, this morning we've seen quite a lot of publication on some prophets or pastors who claim that they saw this coming, and they even indicated that she had a short life. I mean, when you hear some of these words, especially in these trying moments for the family, how does that make you feel as a man of God?
I have had a lot of interviews today. If there's any day my phone and my office and my PAs and everybody have been bombarded with calls, it is from midnight last night. Everybody wants to know my opinion about the death and the passing on of Ebony. What I'm saying is that some people die young, some people die old. And in the prophetic ministry, we see in part and prophesy in part. I must say, though, that for me, I would not say I saw that she was going to die. I just spoke to her about something that is biblical, that is appointed unto man once to die and after death judgment. And I presented to her the life and death. And I gave her a story. There was a story I told her that today, I'm happy I told her the story. I told her a story about a young boy who was standing by a roadside, who was waiting for a bus. And he met an older man who said, why are you standing at the roadside? He said, I'm waiting for the bus. If you are waiting for the bus, go to the bus stop and the bus will pick you there. The boy said, sir, I will stand here. The older man told the boy several times he didn't go. Then comes the bus. The older man knew the bus would pass by the boy to go to the bus stop, but stop at the very odd place the young man was standing. And as the bus opened and the young boy, the 12-year-old boy, was going to the bus, he looked towards where the man was and told him that, thank you for the advice, but I knew the bus would stop here for me because the driver is my father. I told her this story, and I told her that what it means is that if the driver is your father, it doesn't matter where you are, the driver will look for you. Your father will look for you. So she should connect to God, who is our greatest connector. So wherever she is, should be located, and that is where it even came that we spoke about her going to Budapest. I studied in Hungary myself. She was excited and she wanted to know a few words from Hungarian language, and I gave her a few words, and we had a nice talk.
That's a very great conversation there, with international evangelist Dr. Lawrence Tete. But Adwoa Amofa says the head of our entertainment desk, and she joins me here in the studio. Adwoa, let me ask you this. How did you hear the news, and what sources did you have to check with to confirm the death of Ebony?
Well, at about 11 p.m. last night, I put off my data. I usually chat till 2 a.m. before I sleep. So I put off my data, and at around 4 a.m. in the morning, I started getting calls. And then I was just switching all of them off. So when it was almost 5 a.m., a former colleague from a different media house called me. And I said, it's weird that this person will call me at this time. So I picked up. And then he said, Adwoa, your girl is gone. I was like, which girl? He said, Ebony. And for the first few seconds, I couldn't utter a word. I was just on the phone. And he said, Adwoa, are you there? I said, yes. So I said, I'll call him back. I wanted to confirm. And then I was calling everyone I knew who was also close to Ebony, and nobody was picking up. So I called the morning team, and that was when I was told that it was true. And I switched on the TV, and you were there talking about the news. And,
as an entertainment journalist, what has been the general feeling of musicians and people in the creative arts ministry, because that's the ministry, that the sector that Ebony was with before her demise? What has been the general feeling? Yeah, before we even came on air, I called a lot of people to talk to us about Ebony, but what everyone was saying was, Adwoa, I can't say anything. I am just devastated. So that is what everyone is feeling. Everyone is just sad. It wasn't something we expected. We were all just anxiously waiting for the nominations of the VGMA to come out, and then we'd all support her and then campaign for her to win Artist of the Year. And I've heard people saying that we should honor her. For me, it's not about honoring her. Ebony was arguably the biggest artist of last year, and she deserved it. And so the mood has been terrific. Everyone is sad. It's not something we saw coming at all, at all. What would you say Ebony's demise would do to the music industry? Do you think she'll be forgotten so soon, like the status quo? Ebony cannot be forgotten so soon. We still remember people like Terry Bonchaka. We still remember Susie Williams died when I was very young, but up till now, even when I heard of Ebony's death, the first name that came to mind was Susie Williams, because I remember she was also picking up and getting to the peak of her career when she also passed away in a road accident. So Ebony cannot be forgotten, and especially this year when everybody was waiting for her to sweep awards, she can't be forgotten anytime soon, because we are still jamming to her songs and it's still on the list of every party person. What will her death do to the industry, especially to the reggae dancehall fraternity? It will be a big blow. It will take time for a few people to adjust, but gradually we'll come to accept that she is gone. She lived a very short life. Her career was short, but she left a mark. She changed the dancehall industry within a very short period of time, and she was so full of life. And so it would be a big loss, but we will move on gradually. All right, thank you very much. Adwoa Amofa Osei is the head of entertainment in the newsroom. Let's go over the phone line and speak with the president of Musica, Obo. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. I'd ask you also how you received the news of Ebony's demise.
Adwoa, thank you, and a warm morning to your listeners. This dawn, around 5 a.m., I had a call, and the call was from an unknown person, and telling me that my phone had been ringing for like 10 times. So then when I said that, he said he asked my number, but he just wanted to inform me that Ebony had been involved in an accident.
So has Musica been in touch with Ebony's family yet?
Yes, as I speak this morning, Musica brought her who were at Ebony's home, where they had, discussions with their mom, who was very broken-hearted, and I don't even know whether they are still there or they've left, but they spoke to a couple of radio stations also and TV stations. They've been to the family home in Sunyane.
Well, you are the president of Musica, so I'm sure that you've encountered a lot of your musicians, if not all. How would you describe Ebony? Did you have any encounter with her at all?
Yes, I did. I mean, before Ebony became big, I had known her. I think I've had the opportunity of knowing her before she became a star. She was in the same school with my niece, and they used to be in the same dance group. So I knew her. And before she burst onto the limelight, her manager, Nana Bullet, brought her to my home to, come and introduce her to me and say that this is the artist he was handling. I mean, we had discussions, I advised her, and, since she became big, we've had our fair share of interactions. I think the last time we spoke was last week when she got back to me about some issues, and then I advised her on them, and that was the last chat we had. Since then, we've not spoken in about a week or so, and I heard this news, rather sad news this morning.
Okay, lastly, before you go, has any activity been planned by Musica for Ebony yet?
But I think it's pretty way too early.
But do you have plans of doing anything of that sort?
I mean, definitely. Whenever a member of that sort, I mean, Ebony was a Musica Pro member, was a professional musician, member of the Musicians Union of Ghana. And so, yes, the organization naturally will play a key role with the family in commemorating this special ceremony. But this is really a sad one.
I know that you said that definitely you would do something. Ebony was such a great and amazing talent. If Musica decides to honor her, what would you do?
If we decide to honor her, what would we do?
Right, yes.
We wouldn't know until it's been decided and action has been taken on it. But again, I think Ebony, before today, was already realizing much of her hard work. I mean, this year when Musica had our Musica Top 20, I don't know if you remember, Ebony's song Stronger was the most played song on radio and TV in Ghana from statistical data. I mean, this year, Ebony, I know, was going to be a very strong contender at the Artist of the Year category for the VGMAs. It's just unfortunate that she couldn't live to, realize the full benefits of her hard work. She worked so hard during the past year. It's just so unfortunate that she had to go this way.
All right, thank you very much. Vice Osei Kufuor is the president of Musicians Union of Ghana Musica. Thank you very much. But this is how people are reacting to Ebony's death on Twitter and Facebook. President Kufuor tweeted saying, by all accounts, Ebony was a great talent. President Mahama tweeted also, but President Kufuor said he's saddened by the news of the death of the young but extremely talented female artist Priscilla Opoku-Kwarteng, aka Ebony Reigns. Former President John Dramani Mahama also tweeted, rest in peace, Ebony, a talented life cut short. My favorite track on domestic violence and relationships, Mamishe. Bridget Otu also tweeted and said, please, whatever you do, do not post a picture of Ebony's body on social media. And I think that's something that's very commendable. I don't know why people keep posting photos of Ebony's accident scene. It's so gory. You have to try not to send those photos. DSTV Ghana tweeted, "We are saddened by the sudden death of rising dancehall artist Ebony's in an accident which occurred late Thursday evening on the Sunyani Kumasi Road. Ebony would have turned 21 on the 16th of February. Adina Thembi tweeted, "This isn't the sort of post I hope to be making of you this year. This was going to be the biggest year of your life yet. Not just like that, Ebony. I'm still in shock. Rest in peace. This has got to be the hardest one I've had to type." Fancy Gadam, who is another colleague musician of hers, tweeted, "We spoke about our collaboration a few weeks ago, so I'm still waiting for you in the studios. God, I cannot believe this. If indeed true, I hope you sleep well and rest in peace." Sonny Badu tweeted, "Rest well, Ebony. I hope they're happy now." And Sonny Badu is a gospel musician. John Dumelo, an actor, tweeted, "Rest in peace, Ebony." And Cyril, who is also another musician, tweeted, "Rest in peace, Ebony. Nothing to be said will be enough," which I agree. D Black also tweeted,